Hi. So today I made notes about what I'm going to talk about so that I don't just ramble on. Just to recap from last week's video, we talked a little bit about property, buying your own property, how much it can cost you. We talked about how you can actually get into the property business. Just to send a recap on that, do not feel pressured to buy a property. Everybody will say, yeah, but you need to buy a house before you buy a car. Hey, if your need is a car before a house, you damn well then need to buy a car, because it does not make sense for you to get yourself in such a long-term debt, like buying a house or a bond, to a point where you feel pressured so much that you can't even leave the job that you don't like anymore because you're thinking, oh gosh, how am I going to pay my bond? So those are the things that you need to keep in mind. When you're buying a house, the costs are not just limited to the bond repayment that you're going to be paying. You need to, and a bond, you need to pay off, you need to put that house on insurance, and they force you to put on insurance, so you can't get the bond if it's not on insurance. You actually pay a bond registration amount, there's transfer fees. Then when you come back and now you've got this beautiful house, you now need to pay for electricity, levies, rates and taxes. One day they just decide to raise the security levy and you got to pay for that. You got to pay for refuse management. You got to pay your gardener. Now all of a sudden, to maintain a garden, you got to pay a helper, because now you got bigger spaces in your house and you need another helper, or you need extra days for your helper to come in. There's a whole lot of payment. So just be emotionally first and foremost, and then financially ready for you to buy a property. It's not one of those things that you must take as a light-hearted decision, because sometimes you buy a house in Johannesburg and then 5 years later you want to move to Cape Town. What do you then do with your house? You rent out a big house. You know what I mean? It's all stupid, difficult things that just come with buying property. So I will always say to people, yes, buying your own house is really important. Having a place that you can call your own is very important. And financially, it's a great asset to have. But do only get into that kind of commitment when you are financially ready. That's just all I want to say. And then this week, I just want to put a disclaimer before I start. I do not idolize money. I don't think it's the biggest thing in the world, but I do understand the access, the security, and the freedom that money gives you. So that's just a disclaimer that I want to do. We're going to be talking a little bit about the relationship that you are supposed to have with money, the type of relationship and understanding for all of us in terms of money, because, it's easy for all of us to want money. I mean, how many of us have sat and thought, if only I just had a little bit more money, my life would be so much easier. Really? Do you really think your life will be easier if you've got a little bit more money? Do you know what money actually does? Money gives you stress. Let me tell you. I personally, right now, have some money in my account. I don't know what to do with it. People are like, yeah, why don't you invest? First of all, you're afraid to invest because you're afraid of losing that money. Now you're keeping it in a bank account. Uzoloka in every week. We check out because, there's so much fraud. There's so much happening, especially in South Africa. Like, it's just so stressful. Then you start buying things that, maybe some of your peers can't buy for themselves right now. And people think you're better than them. And you're like, but. Or now all of a sudden, because now men are intimidated by what you've got. Men are intimidated by the car that you drive. Men are intimidated by where you stay. It's such a stress. It's like, oh my God. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't have the money. But you know what? Let people not lie to you. Money definitely gives you a certain level of freedom, a certain level of having accessibility, and a certain level of security. I can hop onto a plane right now and say, I'm going to the United States, I'm going to see New York, I'm going to see California, I want to go to Miami, because I can afford to do it. But the reality is that, it takes a certain level of relationship for you to be able to understand what money can do for you and what money can ultimately give you access to. And the one thing that I want to talk about is that people will say to you, oh, now that you've got money, you have changed, or you've become this person. Listen, if you have more money than what you have or what you had 10 months ago, and people are telling you have changed, then you better embrace that. Because if you have not changed, something is definitely wrong with you. Money is supposed to change you, because that's how it is. All that money actually does is that it elevates the type of person that you have always been. It intensifies some of the things that you used to do in the past. It's not like you become a totally different new person when you have money. I don't believe that for a second. But yeah. So as I was saying, we're going to talk about the relationship that people have with money. In South Africa, we all cry for financial inclusion, financial freedom. Let us all be let's all economically participate, which actually, To a certain level, we do. Because if you go and you're taking ice block, espaza shop, you are participating in the economy in South Africa. If you are investing in the JSE, in the stocks, you are participating. If you are earning a salary and you're paying the taxman, you are participating in the economy of this country. But I do know what people are calling for. People are calling for some level of financial inclusion. They want us to all, we must all have money. But now the reality is, can we all handle money? And I don't know. I don't know if we can all handle money. If you were given R1,000,000 today, ask yourself what you would do with that R1,000,000. Where would you invest that R1,000,000? Have you given yourself enough time to read about where you should be investing, what you should be buying, where you should be looking, for you to be able to create wealth through that R1,000,000? And that's the most important thing that South Africans need to learn, or Africans, as a matter of fact, we need to learn very quickly, is that for us to be able to reach our counterparts, which are the Caucasian people, for us to be able to get to where they are, we need to understand wealth generation. We need to understand wealth generation and wealth preservation. And I think for me, that's the one thing that we don't get. Cinema, Latina, we have a lot of money. Black people have lots of money. You see it by the cars that they drive. You see it by the way they hang around during the weekends. You see it by the kind of lifestyle that they have, man. Have you ever done a lifestyle audit on your life and realized, Guti, I'm actually living this life? But when you look at your wealth, when you look at your assets, you actually are just as bad as anybody else who doesn't have money, because you don't understand wealth generation. You don't understand wealth preservation. You don't understand where to look in terms of growing your money. And that's what's important. That's your relationship with money. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, we're not all going to have mentors. We're not all going to have an opportunity to sit with somebody who's got real money to teach us how to actually create wealth and how to maintain wealth. So what do you have to do? You gotta read, my people. You gotta Google, my people. You gotta walk into exclusive books and buy those self-help books that people have written, the likes of Elon Musk. Those are the people that we need to be reading from. And that's the one thing that Black people need to learn to do. We need to read. We need to read. We need to learn to understand. We need to gain understanding. We need to talk to people that have made money. And let me tell you something. Don't be ashamed. Don't be apologetic about wanting money. Don't be apologetic about refusing a job offer because the salary that they're offering you is not what you want. I have done it plenty of times. You know your worth. You know what you're good at. You know your own understanding. So if somebody comes to you and says they want to pay you 15,000 rand for a job that you know you should be getting paid 20,000 rand, or the counterpart people or your peers in the same job, maybe skin color different, they're getting paid 25,000 rand, yet they're offering you 15,000 rand. No. You must say no to that job. Do not be afraid to be a money whore at this age that you're at right now. Up until you are comfortable that you have enough money or you've made enough money, don't be afraid. Don't let people say to you, Nicolette, it's not all about the money. You know what's funny about that saying? The funniest thing about that saying is that you will always get it from people who already have money. You will never hear somebody who doesn't have money who will say to you, it's not all about the money. That's a lie. You will only hear that from people that have made money or are sitting on huge assets or inheritances. They can do things for passion. Yes, I agree. You got to be passionate about what you do. And the only time you can be passionate about what you do is when whatever you're doing makes you money. You don't be passionate about something that doesn't make you money, guys. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Even if you say you are volunteering, you're volunteering now because you know that eventually that thing is going to make you money. So don't be afraid to become a money whore, especially in a legitimate way where you are putting in your time, you are giving off your time, you're giving off your effort, you're giving off everything that you've got so that company makes money. Aye, then you must also make money. It makes sense. If we all make money, we are all happy. Anyway, just going back to your relationship with money. As I asked, do you understand what financial inclusion would mean? Financial inclusion would mean that if I gave you 1,000,000 rand today, you know what to do with that 1,000,000 rand. So just think about it, my people. I just want you guys to think about it just a little bit. And then just to finish off, I wanted to talk about, the actual stresses of having money. As a young girl who's only 28, I've encountered that people think that if you are educated, you've gone to school and you're a woman and you have your own financial standing, that all of a sudden it means that you are just not good enough to be someone's wife, because all of a sudden you're disrespectful, you are intimidating because you drive a better car or you've got a better house. That stuff is stupid, guys. Let's not do that, guys. It just does not make sense that we want women to not have money. It draws me back to that conversation I was having to say, I believe that people should date within their financial lanes. Because you know what? It just eliminates the stress. It eliminates the stress. And I remember actually going into an argument with someone about it. And I was saying, for me, it only makes sense that you date or you keep within your own financial lane. Because if you date somebody who's got far more money than you, all of a sudden there's an expectation that they should be doing everything. And that thing is not right, yes. It's not right. And then also, as a woman, let's say you are within the ranges of 10,000 Rand and your man is earning like 100,000 Rand. Let me tell you something. If that man starts taking care of you and doing all these things for you, you're going to get, especially financial things, you're going to get yourself into a stupid situation where he's going to start trying to control you with his money. And you are lucky if he doesn't. And there are men out there who don't do it. But then there's a huge majority of them who do it. Men who use money to try and control women. Same way as women who use the level of money or success that they've got to disrespect their men. But let me tell you, that thing, it's not about the money. It's about the person that you are initially. And you are going to stay that person forever. But for the sake of we mustn't fight. Me, I believe in dating in your own financial lanes. In the next video, I'll give you guys more information about dating in your financial lanes and what my actual reasons are for dating your financial lanes. But for now, up until wherever we meet again, have a lovely festive season. Remember, don't spend money you don't have. It's stupid. You are not impressing anyone by spending money you don't have, because years are in next year. January is coming, guys. It's not like it's not going to come. It's actually going to come. The fact that we go via Christmas and then New Year's Eve is because January is coming. It's definitely coming. Now, don't be a stupid fool and spend money you don't have. The next year, your kids can't go to school or you can't buy stationery. You know, they give you that list where you must now buy a crayon. Now you need to be bargaining at Spar for crayons. Don't be that parent. I mean, really, don't be that person. It's just unnecessary. Now your child's got to wear dirty old socks from last year because you can't buy them a new pair of school socks for the first day of school. Have you seen how stellar kids look and how proper children look on the first day of school? Make sure your kids have a brand new school bag, please, brand new school shoes, brand new socks, chuniki, yonke into school uniform, guys. Gamele sibe tip tops. And when they walk into the classroom, they need to take out a space case with brand new stationery. Don't be that parent, please, guys. Mwah. And then also be safe on the roads. Don't drink and drive. Don't kill each other. It's so unnecessary. If you do what you are supposed to do and I do what I'm supposed to do on the road, then there's not going to be any road incidents. Easy. No road incidents if we all do what we're supposed to do. Then also one last thing. Skaba that hoster. Don't get trapped into becoming a host. Because if you're hosting people, imali izophela.